Dive into the heart of Cleveland's business community with the Cleveland Burning Podcast. Join me, Kim Kitchen, owner of Burning River Marketing, and Kirk Tietz, owner of Cleveland Custom Coatings, as we explore the untold stories of local business owners. In this engaging series, we focus on the setbacks, accidents, and unexpected turns that pave the way for ultimate success. So just like the Cuyahoga River ignited change in the city, our podcast showcases how adversity can spark innovation and growth. Hear from passionate entrepreneurs who have braved the flames of failure and emerged stronger and more resilient. Get ready for candid conversations and a behind-the-scenes look at the business landscape in Cleveland. What's up, Kirk?
You know, same thing. My kids are on eBay all day yesterday. Can you believe that?
I can't.
It's crazy. If they're still on there when I get home tonight, I'll lower the price, though.
What? Cool. Well, welcome to the Cleveland Burning Podcast, where we dive into stories of local professionals who've braved the flames of adversity and emerged stronger than ever. I'm your host, Kim Kitchen.
With your other host, Kirk Tietz. And today, we're interviewing Steve Spinelli from the Uni Pro Painting. I want to introduce Steve. I've actually known Steve for a number of years. I actually modeled my business after him. Actually know his father and his son.
Cool.
Hugely wonderful family, all out, and their business is very professional. We've shared workers and work along the way. I'm the kind of guy that believes in friendly competitors, so to speak. Maybe we bid on some of the same jobs, but at the same time, he's passed knowledge and experience to me, and I've been able to help him as well. And it's been a great relationship, and I appreciate knowing you.
Well, I'm real honored to be here and humbled that you considered me for the podcast. And this is really a great spot, and I'm really excited. So let's get into it. Awesome.
Well, tell us a little bit about your business, because unlike Kirk, I know nothing about you. I mean, so far, I love you. You're a great guy. You came on this adventure early on with us, so I really appreciate it. But tell us about Unipro.
So we are a commercial painting company. We're located in Bedford, Ohio. I've had the business for it'll be 28 years in January. So I've officially been doing this longer than I haven't. You know, you sit there, you do that math, you're like,
oh, does that make you feel old? It makes me feel old.
Yeah, it does, right? Yeah. So we do all higher end commercial work. We do a lot of exterior tilt ups. So that's a lot of the precast panels. So if you're familiar with like the Amazon distribution centers you see going up, we do a lot of that work, a lot of higher end tenant interior build outs. And that's really our primary focus. We don't really go far outside of that. Like we don't do a lot of public work, retail, residential. That's really not our market. So we're mainly higher end commercial work.
Okay. So when you get a new client, or is it through like a bid process? Like Kirk was explaining that to me. So it's not like, or are you always working with the same people?
That's a great question. We have over the years, established some relationships with contractors whose values align with us. I think it's really important that if you're going to enter into, multiple relationships on different projects, you want to make sure that the people that you're working with see things the same way you do and value things and value you as a provider, right? To be a part of their project. So a lot of it is relationship based, but we do also have to bid competitively, make sure that our numbers are still on point. We'll do some work for out of town contractors when they come in. They'll either find us online or through a referral. Okay. And I'm very aggressive, even still. I for the lack of a better way to explain it, I chase a lot of dumpsters. So what that means is if there's a dumpster outside of a building, right? I mean, there's work going on there. So I'll grab a hard hat and go in and have a conversation with whoever's there and see if we can get the paint work, or at least
dumpsters. You're in the office all day. Well, you should be out there chasing dumpsters.
We know I don't do anything. No, come on.
And I love how he said specifically he'd grab a hard hat before he even walked into the job site. My daughter's managing in construction management, so she's learning all about OSHA.
Oh, yeah.
So that was very, apropos. Like, you're not going anywhere without a hard hat.
Well, you don't want to walk on the job and get thrown out before you even have a chance to, right? So I'd rather be over-prepared and walk in and they're in tennis shoes and shorts or whatever, and then, you don't want to work with those guys anyways. But
if you put on a button-down shirt, hard hat, and a clipboard, nobody even asks you why you're there.
Yeah.
They're afraid you're RO.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right.
Okay, well, you know the theme. I know, Steve, I tried to prepare you, because the last thing we want to do is have successful business people come in here and be like, oh, tell us about the worst day of your life in business. So, but we do kind of gear our podcast towards, focusing on failures, or I like to call them Edison moments, because Edison says, he didn't find 10,000 ways to fail. He found 10,000 ways it didn't work. So, I'm, as a mother of kids that are getting into the workforce, I just kind of like think it's important to get the word out there that, it's not like one wonderful day after the next that you just get a promotion and everything goes smooth sailing all the time. So if we bring business professionals in here that kind of tell us a little bit about the adversity that they've faced, that maybe when someone is facing adversity, they're not going to be quick to give up, So can you tell us a little bit about what role resilience has played in your journey so far?
This isn't an easy journey for anybody who goes down this entrepreneurial road to start a business and to kind of head out there and really risk everything that you have on a day-to-day basis. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but you need to have resilience to build your confidence. I think the problem with most people today in the trades and out of the trades is they quit too early. You get a little bit of adversity and like, oh, that's it. I'm out. I can't, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And you rob yourself of the opportunity to learn a lesson to make you even more resilient. So I look at failures or setbacks, more importantly, overcoming a failure and a setback, right? How you're going to overcome this and how you're going to move on, because I don't know about you guys, but this is all I've ever done for my entire life. So there is no plan B. There is no other option.
Yeah.
So it's truly, I'm going to do this or we're not eating. And that wasn't going to be an answer. So,
Sure.
So you just figure out how to work through things. And I think that by being resilient and the more that you face adversity and you see your way through it, you essentially put those victories in a cookie jar, right? And then as you approach the next situation, you understand that, okay, I've been through something similar like this before, and you can keep your emotions in check. And I think it's really important as you don't get too high, you don't get too low. As your emotions get higher, I think your intelligence gets lower, and you tend to make knee-jerk decisions and quick reactions that in the heat of the moment, right, are probably not in your best interest. So
Sure.
I just think that it helps, looking at situations for what they are, remove the emotion, make a decision, go on your previous experiences and what you had to deal with and got through it, and then just build on that. And then, when you come through the other side, there's a better version of you on the other side of hard. There's everything that I've ever earned in my life. There's been some element of hard to it to get there, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
And almost everyone that's in a position of success like you has gone through that, and that's how you get there. I mean, without it, I don't know. When I meet people that haven't faced adversity now, I'm just like, oh, I wonder when it's coming. It's like, I don't think it's avoidable.
Yeah. I agree
So
with that 100%.
it's just how you roll with it.
So, Steve, can I ask, how have your failures shaped your approach to your profession?
I think that, like I spoke about earlier, as far as it keeps your emotions in check, right? But beyond that, you can just, when you see situations come up and you see these failures, you really have the ability, after you've been doing this for a little bit of time, it's really probably not as bad as it may like initially seem, right? And you could kind of like step back and get that 30,000 foot view and look at it and go, okay, so all right, this is how we're going to navigate through it, and this is how we're gonna get on to the next challenge. How about you? How have you dealt with it?
I think the same way, you get nervous, I've made a lot of mistakes even in the shorter time that I've been doing it. And I agree with you 100%. You almost have to keep your emotions in check. And sometimes I do have to take a step back, even maybe wait a day or something before I'll respond to something to just try to think it over. What's the fair solution? And am I not making a knee-jerk reaction because I felt some emotion from the email or whatever happened?
Right.
So what is like a big, like what does a bad day look like for a commercial painter for both of you? I mean, like, is it like just putting the wrong color up, or is it, some like the person who's running the project telling you that like you're the worst, they're never going to work with you again? Like, what does it look like?
It could be anything from equipment going down to manpower issues.
People not showing up.
People not showing up, or guys in the field I tell my guys all the time, there's things more important than putting paint on the walls. So if there's anything going on with you personally, my door's open. Come and share it with me and see if we can't get through it together. So they truly become family, right? And they truly, their problems become your problems. And then, it lays on my heart at night where I'll be like, I got to help. I mean, how do we get them through this? How do we, so it's for me, it's more of the people element that I have a harder time with, like navigating through something on a job simple enough to fix, right? Okay, the equipment went down. We're going to replace it with this. We ordered another lift, whatever that those are relatively easy. But as I've become closer to the guys that work with me on the day-to-day basis, I think it's the people element that really pulls on my heart to help them through situations.
That sounds familiar. You are modeling your business after this guy. That's what Kirk says too. It's all about his guys, his crew, the staff.
So I always say, everybody says make customers number one, and I'm not going to say that that's a wrong comment, but I'm not personally able to take care of those customers. I'm not the one who's there painting their projects and doing those things. Those are the guys that I pay. I do my best to try to make my guys number one to me, and then hopefully that turns to they turn my customer into number one. So I'm the same. The guys that are with me, we do whatever we can to help them in their hardships and get them so that they're comfortable and happy to come to work.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that 100%. And I feel exactly the same way. We've outlined a profit path. That would be another thing that I would recommend is get coaching. Some of the highest level athletes in the world still have coaches.
Sure.
And we think that, we can do this on our own. And we struggle a lot. And I struggled a lot early on. But there's so many peer groups and coaches out there that could really help you in your professional development, personally, right?
Yeah.
As well as with your business.
Right.
But we identified that as well, that employee satisfaction comes in front of customer satisfaction. That's almost a taboo thing to say, right? But it is true, because a loyal employee is going to be a happy employee. He's going to be productive, right? And then that in turn is going to
he's going to care about his job.
100%.
And then that's going to reflect in his work, which is then going to make your customer then number one.
And that's exactly right.
I have a hard time selling that to people. I think sometimes, and as soon as I start saying it, you almost see people starting to kind of look like, what is wrong with this guy? But I don't think my theory's wrong.
No, I don't think so.
The customer is still number one. I'm not disputing that.
That's the way
true.
to give them the best service.
I don't personally deal with them individually.
Yeah.
So I have to treat the people I deal with, and then I believe everything starts from the top. When I look at your company, the way your dad, your son treat, and that's the way your employees work. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I've seen companies that work bad. If the owner doesn't communicate, neither does the superintendent, neither do the workers, and it's a mess. I'm sure you've seen the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I definitely want to thank you for being part of our podcast, especially so early on in our journey. But I have to ask Kirk, like, why did you want to bring in somebody? He's a commercial painter. You're a commercial painter. Like, how is it that you wanted to bring in? He was like, you were top on the list. He's like,
that's a short list.
No, it's a long list.
People,
And he was like, this guy that does the same thing I do, that I basically, model my business after. Like, he's the one I wanted. And we're like, well, why is that? Like, so why is it that you wanted to? I mean, he's a great interview. But aren't you?
I have a ton of respect for Steve. Actually met Steve. I don't even know if Steve's 100% sure how we met, but I met Steve about 17 years ago. Ironically, it used to be called PDCA, Painting and Decorating Contractors Association meeting.
Okay.
And I was in the union at the time. I was superintendent of a large union painting company. And so I used to attend those meetings, and I don't know, just gravitated to him, talked to him for a little while. We didn't talk again for a number of years, and I responded to an ad, showed up at his office to discuss doing some business together. As soon as we walked in, I think both of us went, oh my God, I know you.
Right.
And so since then, they've just been great. He's great. And again, I don't look at competition like a lot of people do. I've seen people look at other paint vans. Oh, I hate them, or whatever else. There's enough food for everybody to eat, right? I can't do every paint job.
And I think that abundance mindset is where you want to be, right?
Agreed.
I mean, when you have that scarcity mindset, that goes back out into the universe, and I'm telling you, it'll come back to bite you. So there was a quote, and I posted it on LinkedIn. I don't know if you saw it or not, but to your point, I'm just going to read it. It says, it's okay to support another person who is doing something similar to you. It won't hurt your business. If anything, it would help you both. Competition happens at the bottom. Collaboration happens at the top.
Oh,
So we're not competing, right?
That's
I mean, we may be in the
good.
same space,
Right.
but I can learn from him just as much as he can learn from me.
yep.
And together, the strength of us together
Right.
is greater than us independently, right? So if I
Right.
go to tackle a project and I need help, I know I can rely on him, and he has the horses to come and help us and to get the work done. So this relationship right here, we're
Yep.
both stronger for it.
That's cool. I love that answer, you guys. So I do like to leave on a note where, we get to find more about your business. So me, I do SEO. I'm kind of fascinated. My dad was a small business owner. My whole family's small business owner. So I'm really fascinated about other people and how they run their business. I would like to know what's going on in your business. Anything fun, any new projects, any new roles, anybody you're hiring? Like what's going on?
Well, I just came back from a PCA national conference in Nashville.
What's PCA again?
It was the old
That's the-
PDCA,
Yep.
Okay.
right? So it's
Some
the
sort of
Painting Contractors Association.
Contractor
Yeah.
Association. Okay.
So, and the reason why I went is because I wanted to go sit down with guys that are farther along in their journey than I was, and to see what season their business was in, and just kind of pick their brains to see, okay, so you're at like 5 million a year, 8 million a year. What does your structure look like? How many estimators? How many project managers?
great
Just so you
question.
kind of know you have
Sure.
a vision on how to build it, right? So I came back with all kind of ideas. I mean, we want to pursue more direct to owner work, so that's going to be, the majority of our work right now is through general contractors. But the direct to owner work is, all those places that we've gone through and painted their spaces when their buildings renew, that cycle's coming back around to where they're going to need to have service again. So why not us, right? So it's implementing some programs where we can go out and
idea.
pursue some of those accounts. We're redoing our shop. I came back and we just there's a dumpster outside and it's a hot mess. I actually had to change clothes before I came here because I was covered in dust. But we're putting a spray booth in, and we're going to start doing some more shop finishes.
Nice.
So what
So-
do you need a spray booth for?
So
Like spraying equipment, or
so
like, I
no,
think of
so
a car
we do a
coming
lot of
in.
doors.
Oh,
Believe it or not, there's a really
okay.
long lead time to get pre-finished doors from the supplier. So we have people sending us door packages. We just finished 44 doors. We put them on a rotisserie so we could stain all 4 sides at once. We spray a lacquer
Sounds
on them.
fascinating. I want to go see this place.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's got
I
a
want
nice
to see the
place.
rotisserie with
Yeah.
the doors going around and the spray booth.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're working on now, and it's exciting stuff. Anytime I come back from one of these events, I have a laundry list of things I want to implement. So that's kind of
cool.
where we're at.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Well, I love your story. I love hearing more about your business. And we hope our listeners are as inspired as we are about the stories of setbacks. So don't forget to tune in for more interviews with local professionals as we continue to explore their twists and turns that led to triumph in the world of business. And if you enjoyed today's podcast, and we hope you did, please subscribe
Subscribe.
and leave us a review. Help us reach even more listeners. So until next time, remember, every train wreck can be a stepping stone to something extraordinary. So thanks for listening on the Cleveland Burning Podcast.
See you next time.